You know, we get a lot of questions about 401ks, and some of them can be tricky to navigate. So on today's show, we're going to enlist Frank's help to help us tackle some of your top 401k retirement planning questions. Welcome to the Time Blueprint with Frank Oliver of Oliver Asset Management. Here, we break down taxes, income, money, and estate planning, giving you the tools to make informed financial decisions and aim for better retirement outcomes. Your host is financial advisor Frank Oliver, the president and founder of Oliver Asset Management. He's the author of Your Time Is Now, sharing the essentials you need to know to craft a comprehensive and customized retirement plan. Dive in with us as we offer clear strategies and straightforward advice, all designed to empower you in your financial journey. Welcome to the Time Blueprint. Back for another episode. Welcome. I'm Walter alongside Frank Oliver of Oliver Asset Management. And Frank, we've got another great show on the way today.
Yes,
good to see you.
Good to see you too, buddy.
What's going on in your life?
Life is good. Life is busy. Summer's full swing, spending a lot of time at the boat. 4th of July was amazing up there. Yeah, parade of lights, dinghy races.
Did you win any of those activities?
I did not, but here's a funny story. So Kyle upstairs,
okay,
so they did the paddleboard races.
Oh, nice.
Kyle entered the competition.
Okay.
Guess how many times Kyle's been on a paddleboard?
I'm going to guess like 0.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So he entered anyway. You know, a very brave move
that
on
is
Kyle's
brave.
end, right?
To race
and
your first time.
he came in second to last. So it wasn't a total disaster for Team Oliver.
Nice.
Right? Yeah.
Nice.
So he came in second to last. He did not come in last. I think that he would have, but the kid around the last turn was trying to knock him off his paddleboard. And Kyle's a bigger guy, so Kyle
Tyler's a big dude, folks.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah,
So,
he's at a disadvantage on a paddleboard.
Totally was a disadvantage, yeah.
He's sitting a little further down in the,
right.
in the water.
Well, he wouldn't stand up. He stood up once, and he lost.
They're hard to stand up on.
Yeah. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. Oh, you speak like you can stand up on them well.
I'm a very accomplished paddleboarder.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Do you ever do like behind the boat? Do you ever surf behind the boat? I know there's people that do that. That's not on a paddleboard, right?
Yeah, not on our boat, but some of the other boats, my friends have some surf boats out there. Yeah,
that's cool.
A lot of surfing. It's an easy sport for old people.
Interesting.
Because, well, I mean, once you get up, you're not holding the rope. Nothing's ripping out of your arms. It's very gentle and very smooth, so it's easy on the joints. So I've only gotten up once.
Yeah, you're not trying to go do jumps as much or anything
No,
like that.
you're just kind of cruising up over the wave.
It's pretty cool.
It's really pretty to watch people too. It's a lot of fun. So.
Yeah. It's neat because they just stick right there with you, even though there's no connection.
That's right. Yeah.
In any event, you have to send us some surfing video. We could splice it into the episode here.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That would be fun.
Yeah. A video of me or video of somebody that's actually good at it.
Anybody that's doing it and standing up, I'm impressed with.
Right.
So if it's video of you, that'd be awesome. I would love to see that. That'd be great. So if you got some of that on hand, we'll take it and put it up on the screen now. There you go. All right. Well, let's dive in. Coming up later in the episode, we've got a question from Russell. So stay tuned for Russell's question as well. I'll give you a little bit of a preview. Russell's got a primary retirement concern about rising taxes. So this will be right in your wheelhouse. Right. So that's going to be a great question to dive into. But first, we want to turn our attention to these 401k conversations. And we've got 4 of the most asked 401k questions that can be tricky to navigate without proper guidance. And so we're going to tackle those, Frank. First one here on the list is my company plan offers a program where I can get advice on my 401k for a low fee. First of all, do you see people who are in that situation have that question? And is it a good idea, bad idea to take that guidance?
Well, I think getting advice on the 401k from the advisors that work for Fidelity or Company X would definitely be a good idea.
Okay.
I think the challenge that we run into is Fidelity's kind of cornered that 401k market. They've done a very good job at it. Those advisors are probably visiting 100 people a month, right? Okay. And they're very, very competent and very experienced with the investments held inside that 401k. I'm just not sure how much they really know about the client. Okay. And I'm not saying that that's because they're not capable. It's just not their business model, right? Okay. Where we'll spend, a significant amount of time with each individual client because we're a boutique firm, right?
Sure.
So we know our clients inside and out. We know what their income is. We know they're going to retire. We know what their spouse's income is. We know what their tax bracket is, right? We know what their expenses. We know what their Social Security benefits are going to be. We know their retirement dates. So, we can build a much more comprehensive plan. So getting the inexpensive advice, I would definitely take advantage of it. But I don't think it's the end all to be all. I think sometimes a little more comprehensive advice definitely makes sense.
It's kind of like you're building a house, and so you're asking advice from the framer for advice on the entire building process.
That's exactly right.
They're a big piece of the puzzle and can give you good advice on some things, but they're maybe not looking at the flooring that you're going to choose and the type of windows that you really want that are going to complement the house and the paint color and all the other things.
Absolutely. Like Kyle upstairs, he worked for Fidelity. That's how he cut his teeth in the industry. But Fidelity is not going to spend money to educate their advisors on Social Security timing strategies and pension replacement strategies and estate planning tools with attorneys. They may have some knowledge in that, but Fidelity, it's just not their business model. And their business model is great. But again, for more comprehensive advice, you may have to seek outside of that.
Okay, very good. So definitely one of the more common questions you're going to get. All right, what about this next one? Another 401k common FAQ would be, when should I take money out of my 401k and roll it over to an IRA, or should I do that, period? Not even just the when question.
Right. I honestly think as soon as possible. The reason for that is most 401ks by design are more of a simplified investment strategy. Probably 75+% of the investments in a 401k plan are target date funds. Okay. Right. So basically what you're doing is, if you have a Fidelity 2030 fund, what that fund is designed to do is to target your retirement date in 2030, and that target date fund will become more conservative as you get closer to your target date, right? Okay. So the concept is beautiful. It takes the guesswork out of it. If people don't understand investing, they say, I'm retiring in 2030. I'm going to pick a 2030 target date fund, and it makes sense. But when you roll the funds from a 401k to an IRA, typically the platform is much more comprehensive. You have 10 times the options in an IRA in most situations than you will in a 401k. Okay. And there are some situations that we run into as well where upon death of 401k, the plan rules don't always comply with the IRS. And I know that sounds a little weird. Okay. But the Secure Act, IRAs automatically follow the Secure Act, right? They don't have to be redrafted. But company plans are drafted by the employer. So we actually have had somebody work for a very major employer here in Boulder County, and they called to confirm what I was saying. And they said that their plan does not comply with the IRS, but they're not required to redraft it, because what happens is if somebody passes away, then that 401k gets lump summed out, and the IRS is quite happy if you lump sum your 401k because it's all taxable. That's exactly right. So they're not really required to comply so somebody can comply with the Secure Act. It just gets lump summed out, and the IRS is happy because they get the taxes up front versus an IRA that automatically complies with the Secure Act. So there are some very good reasons to roll a 401 into an IRA. And if you separate service, you can do that immediately. And even if you're with that current employer, 59 and a half, you can do a in-service distribution into an IRA. Leave the 401 open so you can get the company match, but you can take the majority of it out, roll it into an IRA, and typically have much better investment options.
Interesting. Yep. So if you like flexibility, if you like options, that IRA rollover may be for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep. Very good. Yep. Certainly consult with your advisor on those kinds of big decisions. Sure. But yeah, there are plenty of reasons why you would want to do that if you're, and a lot of people have that inquiry about 401ks. Hey, do I have to stay in this thing? Can I move it out? Right. What are my options? Right. And you got a lot. All right, here is the next frequently asked question about 401ks that often leads to some confusion or can be tricky to navigate, Frank. And this would be, how should I adjust my 401k investments as I get closer to retirement? It makes me feel like the guidance that you were just kind of giving us about, hey, there's a target date fund. You just kind of pick the year you plan to retire and you're done. Right. But how, do you adjust? Yeah,
and I think investing 101, and this is where maybe a low cost service is going to guide you down this path that I don't necessarily agree with, where as you get close to retirement, most advisors will tell that 401k employee that your portfolio should become more conservative, right? Okay. As you get close to retirement, put that in a more conservative spot, and the target date funds will do that automatically. Here's the flaw in that thinking. Okay? The flaw in that thinking is, what if the 401k component is a relatively small part of my portfolio? What if they got some stock options, which we're seeing with Broadcom and NVIDIA right now, huge stock option payouts, right? What if the spouse has a huge 401k? What if they have a real estate portfolio? What if they sold some properties and have substantial, investments in other areas besides a 401k? Does a 401k really need to be that conservative, depending on your budget, your lifestyle, your Social Security, and what all your, how your other investments are invested. So it's got to be the full picture. But the standard advice, from somebody that's going to meet with an employee is, you're 5 years out or you're 3 years out from retirement, kind of the red zone.
Yeah,
we should put that somewhere more conservative. Kind of depends on everything else you have going on.
I feel like I've heard you tell stories before as well where someone doesn't need that 401k money for 20 years.
Absolutely.
And so even though they're near retirement,
yes,
that money isn't near retirement.
That's exactly right.
And so that's another big reason why you don't want it necessarily automatically getting more and more conservative.
Right. And that's, again, I think the target date funds are a great design, and they help people invest, and it keeps them
makes it easy. Makes it wonderful asset.
Easy. Yeah, absolutely. But again, a little bit of a flaw with that strategy, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, you got to look at the full picture.
Okay, very good. So if you are following that mentality of just pick that target date fund, pour money into it, and move on, it could be working for you, but it may not be as efficient as it could be, and you might be leaving some opportunity on the table. So the good reason to reach out and take a little bit of a closer look there. All right, Frank, our last 401k topic to cover today. What happens to my 401k if I change jobs? We get back to rollovers here, but also some other concerns and considerations too.
Yeah, I mean, you can move it to your new employer. Depending on the plan rules, you can leave it with your existing, employer that you're separating service with. But honestly, again, and we just mentioned this a few minutes ago, you should roll it into an IRA.
Yeah.
Expand your investment options. A lot of additional tools with an individual IRA. Again, complies with the Secure Act. Secure Act 2.0 is actually what it's called. If you separate service, you should roll it into an IRA.
Is there ever a reason or advantage to do rolling it into your new company's 401k or similar plan versus the rollover?
Well, I guess if the fees were extremely low and they had a very comprehensive 401k investment platform, then that would possibly be an option. I've looked at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of 401k plans, and they're really just not that complex. If you get a big company like IBM or somebody out here, they may have some more options for you.
Okay.
I've been asked to build 401k plans and manage them for companies. It's just not my business model. It's not something I want to do.
Okay.
But they'll straight out tell me, give us 12, 15, 20 options. That's all we want.
Gotcha.
Where we have thousands of options on the IRA side.
Yeah. So literally the world is your oyster at that point.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Well, I hope that helps you. If you have some 401k questions, feel free to reach out, ask them to Frank. He can help walk you through whatever your questions might be. In fact, we originally came up with a list of like 10 or 11 of these, but just to keep the episode a reasonable length, we picked 5 to cover on today's show. But we know that you've got other 401k questions. So if you want to reach out, ask those questions, even in the context of a full-blown financial plan, you can do that with Frank and the team. All you have to do is call 720-897-TIME. That's 720-897-TIME. Talk to Tyler. He'll set you up with an appointment. Come in, have a visit, schedule a free strategy consultation online as well at oliverassetmanagement.com. And the links to all that in the description of today's show. So check it out and set up your time to visit, or even ask a simple question if you want to start there, just as easy. Frank, we're not done yet. We've got a listener question to answer coming up, and we're going to get to know Frank with a fun question coming up next.
There you go.
All right, it's time to get to know Frank a little bit better on today's show, and our question of the episode is a funny one. We're laughing about it a little bit because we had a fun conversation before we started about it. Frank, what's your favorite way to exercise? Is your question this week.
And I think I replied with exercise. What is exercise?
You said, I used to have a favorite way to exercise.
I used to have a favorite way to exercise. I used to love to exercise.
Yeah?
Yeah. If I was going to say my favorite way to exercise, it's probably going for a hike.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I was going to say, it wasn't long ago you were showing me pictures from a cool hike, so you're still getting out there.
Oh, absolutely. Up around Horsetooth, which is just one of my favorite areas because of the boat. There's some beautiful hikes up there. We got some property up in North Park, so we do some hiking up in North Park.
Is that where you saw the moose last year? You shared that picture of the moose on your hike?
Yes, absolutely. Up on the way to Estes Park. So a lot of great trailheads up there.
Yeah.
Definitely. So hiking, it's scenic, right?
Yeah.
It's the fresh air. You enjoy the great outdoors. Hiking is definitely my preferred way to exercise.
We did Sky Pond recently, and that was a nice, significant, 10-mile round trip.
Yep,
so talking about exercise, that was pretty good.
It was a killer, wasn't it?
It was still a little snowy, so that got a little dicey at a few points. But I would say that's right up there with my favorites as well.
Hidden Lakes is on my bucket list. I've never done Hidden Lakes up by Glenwood Springs.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be a really good spot to do it. Wait till it cools down a little bit.
That's right. It's too hot.
It's a lot over there. It's hot over there. But
my favorite way of air conditioning is inside of an my favorite way of exercising is inside an air conditioned room.
Yes. Very good point. Absolutely. I love it. All right. Well, we want to get to Russell's question, so let's do that. It's time to open up the mailbag. Okay, so Mr. Russell has our question of the episode, and Russell says, if my primary retirement concern is rising taxes down the road, does that mean all of my retirement savings should be going into a Roth?
I love this question. I am a huge proponent and a big fan of Roth IRAs. The tax treatment on them is obviously tax-free. The growth is tax-free. The income is tax-free. The wealth transfer to your families is tax-free. I do see people that can over-convert or have too much money in a Roth. What you want to do is look at what your required minimum distributions are going to be in your 70s. And I'm going to say 70s now because they keep changing the age.
Yeah, they do. Right? Yeah. Don't even worry about a specific age at this point.
That's right, because they're going to change it again. But if you can pull a required distribution out of that IRA and not pay taxes because you've done enough Roth conversions to get that account balance to a certain size that your required distribution is offset by the standardized deduction, then you can actually over-convert if we're talking Roth conversions, because it's going to cost you money to do a Roth conversion. Right? And if you over-convert paying taxes today to get that money into a Roth, but then down the road, the standardized deduction would have offset any RMDs anyway, then maybe you did over-convert and spent money that you didn't need to do.
Gotcha. You know? So it's a great tool to utilize, but you can overdo it.
That you can't overdo it. Absolutely. I guess the only way that a Roth converting more than maybe appropriate would make sense is if you wanted that tax-free asset to transfer to your heirs without any taxes.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. I think it's a great example of why you've really got to come in, have a conversation about your financial plan, because every little move you make impacts the rest of your plan.
Oh, absolutely.
If you do a Roth conversion, it's impacting the tax portion of the time blueprint
and wealth transfer and income and everything else.
Everything down the line.
That's right. Tax bones connected to your.
Yes, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah, I think we need a jingle on the show that is based off of the elbow, and
I'll write one up.
I think that would be fantastic. Just use ChatGPT. It'll come up with a poem for us. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love it. This is fantastic. Well, great question. Thank you, Russell, for submitting that one to us. Hope that gives you a little insight into how to think about Roth as you think about planning for rising taxes down the road and that kind of thing. It's definitely going to be part of the conversation when you come in and work with Frank and go through the planning process. Speaking of which, if you'd like to set that up, go online to oliverassetmanagement.com or call 720-897-TIME, and you can get a complimentary free strategy session online or by calling. Frank, thanks for the help. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Walter.
Yeah, we'll see everybody next time.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Creative One Wealth, LLC, and Oliver Asset Management are unaffiliated entities. Licensed insurance professional. Respond and learn how financial products, including life insurance and annuities, can be used in various planning strategies for retirement. The information contained herein is based on our understanding of current tax law. The tax and legislative information may be subject to change and different interpretations. We recommend that you seek professional tax advice for applicability to your personal situation.